Welcome to another edition of the Sim Racing Garage. I'm Barry Rowland. In this edition, I'll be demoing the Ultra Custom GTE wheel from Turn Racing, an awesome looking replica of the wheel found in the Aston Martin Vantage GTE race cars. Now, this is not my wheel, unfortunately. It was loaned to me by an active race car driver currently participating in the World Endurance Championship Series, Charlie Eastwood, who drives for the TF Sport Racing team. Along with his other two co-drivers, he will be campaigning a 2019 Vantage GT3 this year. So all the best to Charlie for a successful season. Now time to have some fun. So let's get to it. So now let's take a closer look at this particular custom wheel. First off, this case has the Turn Racing logo on it. And of course, this is a Pelican type case. It is not a Pelican case by brand name, but it is that type. It has the pressure relief valve on it up here, and of course it has the rubber seal going through it, made in the USA. And this was ordered custom by the customer, and typically you'll get, if you don't, well, not typically, but if you don't order this case right here with the wheel as part of the package, then you'll get it in a Turn Racing box that you can see here. So this is what it looks like if you did not have the hard case that the customer actually ordered for his wheel. Right. So let's take a look at what's going on in here. And there we have the wheel. As you can see, sitting nice and snug in its little cutout here. So all this is laser cut, and we also have an AMR for Aston Martin Racing logo cut into this, because this wheel is actually for a real race car driver who is going to use this wheel, and he happens to drive a Vantage Aston Martin, or Aston Martin Vantage GT3 this year, I think. We'll talk about that in a second. So very nicely done, and again, we would expect it at this kind of price point. Let's go ahead and take the wheel out. First off, you see the wheel, as you probably saw in the picture that I showed before, this wheel had plastic all over it, and this is the plastic. Of course, I can't use the wheel and drive it and test it out if I had the plastic on there, so I had to take it off. Here's a shot of the actual plastic on the wheel when I originally took it out of the case. So you can see that very nicely done here. Again, just adds that little custom magic to a wheel when you get it and you pull it out of the box. Plus, it's also a good protection for shipping long distances overseas and things like that. Right. So let's put the wheel aside for a second, and let's just see what we get in this as far as the basic kit that comes with it. And here is a brush, and this is a suede brush. I have a few of those. I have a couple of them. I think they're MOBOs. Yeah, these are MOBOs. And that's to take care of your beautiful suede grip. And we also get some stainless steel screws. Looks like we get button heads and we get flat heads. And of course, that would be for attaching a quick release to this wheel, or maybe attaching the wheel itself to a wheel base. Right. So we also get a very nice, and this was wrapped in plastic too. I took that off because I was going to have to use it, right? So this is a very nice USB cable, very thick, very industrial. So yeah, it's going to take a lot to damage this cable. And yeah, I really like these thick cables. Instead of the thin ones are nice too, and they actually roll a little better, not as stiff. But yeah, for durability, you can't beat this stuff here. Now we have the usual USB-A fitting on the end of this, and we also have a nice ferrite sink filter, whatever you want to call that, to try to limit our EMI exposure to this cable. And on the other side, we have an excellent, my favorite actually, Lumberg connector. And this is a 5-pin unit, and of course it has a little screw collar on it to securely fasten it to the wheel. And we'll see actually, I'm going to show you real quick. There's the female side of that, right? So we just screw that in. Very nice, secure connection. And yeah, the cable is pretty much like I would expect from a wheel at this caliber. Right, so we also have another piece in here, and this is actually the extension for your cable. And this is actually made out of some PLA here. And this is a PETG PLA, not PLA rather, I shouldn't have said PLA. It's actually 3D printed with PETG. And it's basically an extension cable, gold plated, obviously, that fits inside of this housing. And the reason it's in this housing is so it can be mounted to a 40 series profile type of rig. So that's space for 40 series. Or 15 series will probably fit it also. They're so close. Right. So very nicely done there. It just snaps into that cover. So now we have a convenient, got some dust on it there, have a convenient spot to take our USB cable over here and plug it in, right? Very cool. And we have the gold A on the other side too. So very nice cable. No ferrite sinks on this, but very nice cable it looks like. So what else we get? We get a sticker, Turn Racing, and oh, okay, we get the candy prize. This is a Tootsie Roll Pop. I believe this is a grape flavor. So yeah, how many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Roll Pop? I believe it was 3 the last I checked. Right, so that's it. That's what comes in, and so we'll go ahead and put some of that back in the case here. Shut that and scoot her over here. And now let's take a closer look at the wheel itself. As you can see, this is a very cool looking wheel. And this was custom ordered by the customer. Now this customer happens to be Charlie Eastwood. And he is racing in the World Endurance Championship on the TF Sport race car team. And actually, they'll be running a 2019 GT3 Vantage this year. So yeah, it's nice to see that the real race car drivers are actually in their simulators and doing what we do, and also love their custom wheels. So this was custom spec'd to his request. So whatever his specifications were, that's how Zach built this wheel. Right. So you can see it's a very pretty wheel right from the get-go. I'm not sure how the colors are showing up here, but it's just a gorgeous piece of racing kit here. I just love the colors on this. When I first opened it up, I said, man, that looks so good. Right. So we have to form the wheel, we have a solid 5mm thick carbon plate. And the handles and grips are actually molded around that with the molds that he creates. And the molds are made out of material, he says, that have a 90 shore rating, or 90A is how that would be written. And it feels real good in the hand, as you might imagine. It just feels like home when you grab these grips. Zach does a great job with grips. He always has. You know, the P1 that I have is a great grip too, a little bit fatter than this. But yeah, this one's nice too. And I really like it because you have this roll off on the back of it. I don't know if this is going to show up, but because black on black is not a very good contrast. So it has a valley down here. Some grips are fatter and they don't roll very much as they go towards the spoke of the wheel, or towards the hub part of the wheel on the spoke. And this has a nice drop off on it. Not too sharp, but just the right amount for me anyway. I like it. And it just feels good your fingers kind of roll in there naturally when you're holding it. Hard to describe. It's one of those things you really have to, get it in hand and feel it for yourself. But yeah, it feels really good. And when I was driving it, had no problems. It was a great grip to use. And we'll see some driving later on with this wheel, because I had to test it out. So, right, back to the front. We've got some nice decals going on here. And these are these laser cut decals. I don't know how well that's showing up, but it's the kind that you put on, you press it on, and you peel the top off. So it's just the letters here. It's not another backing around the letters. So very nicely done, laser cut on these decals. And the stripe is the same deal up here. The Vantage, not sure where you got that Vantage decal, but it looks very nice, very, very authentic looking. And of course we have the nice Vantage GTE in the correct font, mind you, no less than that. And yeah, it's just a well done layout here. And the knobs are also a PETG print, and they match very nice stuff. The yellow one's kind of a contrast issue, or contrast deal, because we have a black there. But again, this is all ordered to customer specifications, and you can see these dials work very nicely. These encoders or rotaries that he's using are the CST brand, which is a very good brand. 5 of these, I think, last time I checked, were $75 plus shipping to get a group of these for a wheel. So yeah, very nice encoders. They have not a real sharp, hard click to them, but not too soft either. It's right in the middle. Goldilocks, right? So it's about right in the middle. It's a nice tactile click. You've made one move, and you can feel it even with gloves on that, yeah, everything's working like it should, and you just went 1 click instead of 2 clicks. Some rotaries are a little bit too tight on their detents, I think, at least for me, and you go for 1 and you accidentally get 2. No problem with this. Nice spaced out detents on this, and you can see when you turn in the dials on these, that exposes the number that you're on, obviously. So again, very nice. You can hear the click pretty good there. But yeah, all of them obviously feel the same because they're the same rotary. So yeah, I can't complain about this at all. This is a nice setup here. And of course, it matches what is in the real Vantage cars, or at least was in the time. Of course, this could change any time how they have their wheels. Now, the buttons up here, we have 5 buttons on each side. Of course, there's 2 moves to each one of these rotaries, so there's 10 here, 10 here, so that's 20 selections you can make, plus the shifters make 22. And the buttons themselves don't have a real loud tactical click to them, but yeah, you can feel, obviously you've pressed the button though. So again, this is all customer spec stuff. I kind of like knitters a little better, but that's a personal preference, but it wouldn't be authentic if I had knitters on there, would it? So yeah, we have to remember what's going on here. And they have some nice 3D printed again in the PETG material, which is a very stiff material compared to regular PLA material. If you've ever done 3D printing, you guys know what I'm talking about. The PETG is like just a stiffer, almost ABS-like. Not quite, but almost ABS-like as far as the stiffness on it. So it has a good grain to it too when it gets printed out. So you can see those are all custom enclosure printed there. So yeah, we'll get some views of that. So again, authentic to what the real wheel does. So very nice. And yeah, really can't complain about the buttons. They get the job done. And they have their own decals on those. Very nicely done. Right. Anything else I want to look at on the front? I don't think so. I think that's about it. Let's go around to the back, and you can see the PETG enclosures on the back covering the back of the buttons. Of course, that just kind of flows over to the back from the front. And we have also a PETG hub here, this massive hub, which is obviously holding the electronics. And the electronics, we can actually see these little 4 screws here? 1, 2, 1, 2, I'm going backwards. And then the 2 up there. That's actually holding a Bodner board. So yeah, again, top quality components inside of here, all around, just top quality. No cheapies on a wheel like this, and of course you would not expect it to be on something like this. Right. So you also have an aluminum hub. This is a 2-inch hub here. Looks like it has a powder coat finish on it, and I'm not sure if that was customer ordered as far as the spec on that, but I think you could probably put a Q1R quick release on the back of this without this hub and still have clearance for the shifters in your hands or whatever. But again, that's going to depend directly on what kind of wheelbase that you're mounting it to and whether you have an extension on that kind of thing. But I just went ahead and mounted the quick release to the back of this when I was using it. So yeah, nice extension there. The cable management, as usual, nice and tidy, just like we always see from Zach over there at Turn Racing. Nothing really to complain about there. And some people might not like this exposed rotary switch thing going on back here, but I tell you, a lot of real race car wheels have this kind of stuff going on. Not all of them, obviously, but they'll have, instead of putting a cover on it, because they have 3 or 4 wheels anyway, so they don't go to the trouble of doing that. So again, kind of an authentic race car look going on, leaving the switches uncovered, or the back of the rotary switches rather, uncovered on the back here. And you can see they're shrink wrapped. Again, very nice, tidy job here for where he soldered on the wires to the actual encoders or rotaries. So yeah, you can't complain about this. This really is a very cool looking wheel. And the shifters themselves are no less than Precision Design Works' own aluminum shifters. Magnetic, of course. Very nice units. Very nice tactile feel to them. Yeah, I really enjoyed using these shifters. But I'm partial to the magnetic shifters, even though really a lot of race cars don't have magnetic shifters. They actually have the springs in them, which is, again, however the company wants to build a wheel. But yeah, I like the tactile feedback of the magnetics, no doubt about it. And you can see they have a switch. The way these things are made, they have a switch mounted on the outside of these aluminum housings. Let's see if I can get you a look on the white contrast of my shirt. There it is. Okay, so you can see the switch in there. And when you bring it out, it just presses on the switch. Again, this is aluminum. The lever is aluminum. The housings are aluminum. So again, yeah, Precision Design Works makes good stuff, no doubt about it. If you guys have any other shifters, you already know that. Let's see, anything else? I guess that's about it. 5mm carbon on the shifters that actually goes with the 5mm plate on the front. So yeah, wow, very nice wheel. I like what I'm seeing here. And we're going to go over and drive it, obviously. So we're going to go ahead and just pop the quick release on here, take this for a spin, and yeah, see what we like about it or don't like about it maybe. While we're actually driving it. So here we are in iRacing at the ring, and we're in the Vantage, Aston Martin Vantage DBR9. Obviously, that's the car we want to be driving with this replica wheel from a Vantage GTE car. And First off, it's just overall, it's a great handling wheel. I mean, there's not much you can say about a steering wheel except is it comfortable or not, and this one is comfortable. The whole time that I used it, I never had any, problems with my hands getting cramped or anything like that, except for longer stints. My hands will get warm, but that happens all the time anyway. And yeah, just a great grip. I like the way the ridge in the back is formed, so your fingertips just kind of fall in to there, into the groove in there. It just feels like a natural grip. So no problems with the grip. The CTS encoders work flawlessly, and they are a premium encoder. A lot of high-end wheels use those. And yeah, just no problems with that. I do like the knobs that are on these encoders, as I said before, in closer look, because it's easy to take a glance at all of your rotaries and easily see what position they're in because of little windows there. The buttons themselves, no issues, work flawlessly, no dramas. I kind of prefer a more of a tactile feel with the knitters, but then again, the knitters probably, as far as a replica wheel, they just wouldn't fit. They just wouldn't look right because that's not what they use on the real wheel. So yeah, again, it's just a personal preference thing creeping in my review here, as it usually does every once in a while. And yeah, but again, no dramas, they work fine. Yeah, so this just came together great. And the precision design works. Shifters are just a joy to use. As usual, I've used them before and they just never fail to please with their snappy, clicky, tactile feedback that you get from them. They're just a joy to use. And those 5mm thick carbon plates have no flex in them at all when attached to that aluminum arm on those shifters. So again, just all comes together just as a great package. It was a blast using this wheel. I know Charlie's going to have a great time once he gets his hands on this wheel. And yeah, it is the kind of wheel I would like to have in my collection. It's just one of those wheels, I don't know about you guys, that just looks so good, and obviously it's functional too, but yeah, I really like this wheel. It's just well designed, and like I said, Charlie's going to like it. I think he made some good choices here when he put his order together for this wheel. Right, so enough about me rambling on about how great this wheel is. We'll just go ahead and finish out this lap on the ring. If you want to follow along, if you don't, I'll see you over in the final thoughts segment. final thoughts on the Turn Racing GTE wheel. First off, I would like to thank Charlie Eastwood, who is driving for the TF Sport Racing team in the World Endurance Championship Series this year, for allowing me to get a chance to demo this wheel. Also wishing him and his co-drivers a very successful season campaigning the Aston Martin Vantage GT3. The great thing about a custom wheel is it allows the customer to decide exactly how they want the wheel to be configured, with some limitations, of course. I think Charlie has made some good choices here, and the entire wheel is a good balance of looks, feel, and performance. The CTS rotaries have a positive feel to them when rotated, leaving no doubt to the driver as to whether it was turned 1 click or 2 clicks. The small window on each knob allows the driver to see the condition of all settings assigned to the rotaries with just a glance. The top button clusters on each side of the wheel are easy to reach and give enough tactile feedback to know that the buttons have been activated. The Precision Design Works shifters used here are just top flight kit. When pressing on the 5mm thick carbon paddles, you always get a very satisfying tactile click, with what I think is just the right amount of travel to complete the shift. Now, the thick USB cable that connects to the wheel via the lumbar connector system is a treat to use and ensures there's no accidental separations during the heat of battle. It was a pleasure to drive with this wheel, but now it's time to pack it up and send it on its way to Charlie. Once he receives it, I'm sure he will have a big smile on his face. I'm Barry Rowland. Thanks again for watching the Sim Racing Garage channel. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and if you would like to support what I do here at the SRG, visit my website at simracinggarage.com.